Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So this will be my very first video in my deep dive series where I try to get as much information as I can about the perpetrator's psyche. And like I said before, not to excuse them for their crimes and not to put them on the pedestal or give them a platform or highlight them in any way whatsoever, but perhaps we might be able to find a correlation between all of them and then I don't know, see if you have someone like this, someone that's exhibiting those characteristics around you, to help you pay more attention to folks because they might be your neighbors, your cousins, your uncle, your brother, your father, your husband. You catch my drift? Okay. Also, I want to mention that I will go over their crimes, like their killing methods, but I will not be talking about the victims simply because I feel like I don't really care what light I present the perpetrators, but I am concerned that I may not have enough tact to talk about the victims in a sensitive manner, and I would not want to offend their family members. Yeah, so that's basically why. Now with that being said, let's dive into our first case. That was actually the one, remember when I said one of Bailey's video made me so sick to my stomach that I had to do a deep dive on the guy? That was actually this guy, because I had to see. I was like, what the heck happened to you that would turn you into this monster of a person? Okay, and that guy was calculated. It took them a while to get to him. All right, let's get into it. So this guy was responsible for at least 13 murders, 51 rapes, and 120 burglaries throughout California between the years of 1974 and 1986. And he just carried on with his life because he wasn't captured until late 2018. Lucky bastard. Alright, who is this guy? Well, I'm glad you asked. And I say is because this mofo is still alive, believe it or not. His name is Joseph James DeAngelo Jr., aka the Visalia Ransacker, the East Area Grapist, East Side Grapist, East Bay Grapist, Creek Bed Killer, Diamond Knot Killer, the original Night Stalker, Erons, I hope I pronounced that right, and last but not least, better known as the Golden State Killer. DeAngelo, this guy, he was born on November 8th, 1945 in Bath, New York, to Kathleen Louise DeGroat, born June 30th, 1923, and was deceased 8/21/2010, and Joseph James DeAngelo Sr. was born January 19th, 1920, and was deceased February 15th, 1995. Mr. DeAngelo Sr. was a sergeant in the U.S. Army. Joseph Jr., we're going to call him JJ to differentiate between him and Dad because they're both Joseph. JJ had two older sisters and one younger brother. I couldn't find anywhere that any of them was as jacked up as he was because he was special. Okay? Remember when I said his dad was in the army? Well, it was reported that while they were stationed in Germany, JJ, as a young child, had watched one of his older sisters being raped by two airmen. Oh, that sucked. I couldn't find how old he was at the time when he witnessed this, but he witnessed something like that. Yikes. Additionally, JJ was involved in some burglaries, a theft, mail theft to be exact. Why are you stealing mail? Who steals mail? Which think we're gonna find checks in them that aren't gonna have other people's names on them? That's crazy. I never get why people steal mail. Trying to steal someone's identity? I don't know. That's not weird at all. It was also reported that he was torturing and killing animals as a teenager. Not a good sign. Not a good sign at all. Also, while growing up, JJ himself was abused by his father, Joseph Sr. Now, it wasn't specific as to what type of abuse he experienced, but I am gonna guess it was more than a whooping because I was disciplined a lot growing up and I have no desire to unalive anyone or anything. So something more was definitely going on with homeboy. It wasn't just whoopings because every single person that I know from my childhood would be serial killers, because we all got our behinds handed to us as children back in them days. Okay, moving on. JJ attended Mills Junior High, then went on to Folsom High School where he earned his GED. Okay, he also played baseball. After he got his GED, he served 22 months in the U.S. Navy. Then after that, he went on to attend Sierra College in Rocklin, California, where he earned his associate degree in police science. He graduated with honors, so I think it's safe to say that homeboy was not dumb, okay? He also went to Sacramento University where he earned a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. A dude with a plan. He then went on to take some more police training courses at the College of Sequoias. I hope I'm saying that right. Prior to completing a 32-week police internship at Roseville Police Department. Again, I say, homeboy was not stupid. In May of 1970, JJ here became engaged to his then girlfriend, a nursing student whose name I will leave out because it's not relevant to the story and they probably don't want to be associated with this guy. I know I wouldn't. So, yeah. But he met her while they were attending Sierra College. However, the engagement never turned into a marriage because in 1971, homegirl ended the relationship because Mr. Sir over here became extremely manipulative and abusive when she wouldn't help him cheat on an abnormal psychology test. What? Good for her, but what? Wow. But that's not all. Wait for it. After the breakup, he attempted to force her to marry him by threatening her with a weapon. Yep, it works every time, my guy. It works every time. Every single married folks you see, the dude had to threaten the young lady with a weapon. Cause what? What was wrong with this guy? Are you kidding me right now? Good for her for dodging that bullet. Well, I guess he recovered from that little situation, and somebody else was very unlucky because in November of 1973, he married this woman, and together they went to have 3 children. Darn it. They separated in 1991, and she then filed for divorce months after his arrest in 2018. I don't quite know how divorce works, but how are you separated like since 1991, but then she just didn't file? Okay, I just answered my own question. Anyways, moving on. He committed the majority of his crimes while he was married and raising a whole entire family, and nobody suspected him. That's why I said pay attention to those patterns, because that could be your husband, that could be your daddy, okay? That could be somebody that you live with. It's not always a stranger. It's not always a stranger. So pay close attention to these patterns, because almost all of these people share a pattern. Anyways, moving on. From 1973 to 1976, JJ worked as a burglary unit police officer. There's a shock. In Exeter after relocating from Citrus Heights. Then he served in Auburn from 1976 to 1979 when he got arrested for shoplifting a hammer and a dog repellent. What? Why? Comment below if you have any idea as to why homeboy would be shoplifting a hammer and a dog repellent, unless like they had like different purpose. I don't know, but like together they make sense. I don't know. Comment below if I'm retarded, because I'm not getting the purpose of him stealing those items. Together, I don't know. Separately, the dog repellent I don't get at all. It just made sense to me. Okay, the dog repellent. Yeah, I got it. Okay. He was fired and he was sentenced to 6 months probation, which he was not happy about, and threatened to unalive the chief of police and allegedly stalked his house. A little bit of a red flag. Little bit of a red flag there, my guy. Also, I want to mention that one thing to notice here is that this guy was relocating quite a lot during this time. And remember in the beginning, I had mentioned that his crime started since 1974. So he was a whole criminal all the while working as a police officer. That's incredible. Anyways, let's see what this guy was up to. Let's go take a look at those crimes, shall we? So, DNA evidence linked JJ to at least 8 murders, more than 51 rapes, and hundreds of incidents of thefts, burglaries, vandalism, peeping, and prowling. This guy was busy. He started with burglaries, then moved on to raping single women living alone. It was said that he would utter the words, "I hate you, live," referring to his ex-fiancée after raping women. Ew, so he was going around carrying that hurt. Issues. So when it started to become obvious, he then changed his tactics by attacking couples, because they started putting a profile together for Homeboy and saying that he was attacking single women living alone, and he was like, "Oh no, that can't be. They're gonna make me." So he then moved on to attacking couples. He would have the women tie up their partner and then take the women in another part of the house to rape them, sometimes repeatedly. What a monster. He would literally rape them, stick around for hours, and rape them again before he would start to unalive them. Sick. His first killing was rather accidental, I would say, or not planned, because he was about to abduct the daughter, and then the dad stepped in to stop him, and he shot him. And then I guess he must have gotten a thrill, or something went off in him, because then after that, he started planning to unalive everybody that he did unalive after that. He would go on to attack many more couples, rape the wives, then unalive them by either shooting them or bludgeoning them to death. What a psycho. My goodness. And he committed all these crimes for over 10 years and went on to live his life as if nothing happened. But you know what they say, no good deed goes unpunished. Thank God, because on April 24th, 2018, JJ was arrested and charged with multiple counts of first-degree murder with special circumstances. Now, when they got him, he tried to say like his interpersonal or alter ego, whatever you want to call it, Jerry, is the one who made him commit all those murders. And while they were in the interrogation room, while he was alone in the interrogation room, he tried to talk to himself saying, "I didn't have the strength to push him out. He made me. He went with me. It was like in my head. I mean, he's a part of me. I didn't want to do those things. I pushed Jerry out and had a heavy life. I did all those things. I destroyed all their lives. So now I've got to pay the price. You darn tootin', you got to pay the price." I could be wrong, but I think Homeboy was playing it off. He was trying to like use this whole not guilty by reason of insanity by talking to himself and saying that someone else made him do it. No, sir. And when that didn't work, then he tried to talk to a lawyer. It said that they refused him a lawyer, saying that the luck of the potential Miranda right or Miranda violation would be justified because they could not use this interview in court, because, you know, part of the Miranda rights is that they have the right to an attorney, but they refused him one because they technically weren't gonna be able to use that interview in court. I'm not sure why though, it didn't say why. But on April 10th, 2019, prosecutors announced that they would be seeking the death penalty, and on March 4th, 2020, JJ offered to plead guilty if the death penalty were taken off the table, which they didn't accept at the time. However, on June 29th, as part of a plea bargain to avoid a death penalty, which I'm guessing they accepted at some point, Mr. Sir here pled guilty, or is it pleaded? I don't know. One of them. Guilty to 13 counts of first-degree murder, including burglars and rapes, as well as 13 counts of kidnapping. And on August 21st, 2020, Homeboy was sentenced to multiple consecutive lives in prison without the possibility of parole. I cannot say that I am mad. I low-key wish that they would have gone with the death penalty, but that is something that I still struggle with, because I'm like, we're not allowed to take lives, but also, like, I feel like they should go with the death penalty via electric chair. But I also feel like they need to rot in prison and have all the time in the world to think about the gruesome crimes that they've committed. I don't know. I'm still debating on how I feel about that. I'm just glad they caught him, and I'm glad he got convicted, and he is currently rotting in jail, and I love that for him. Okay, so that's all I could gather on this man. Now that we have gone through this person's upbringing and stuff, and the style of their crimes, I want to know what you guys think could have made him go psycho, because I don't believe that we were born psychos. I think things happen in our lives that may have altered our brain chemistry and turned us into things that we need to fight against, like urges that we have, right? I understand, like, him witnessing his sister being raped and or assaulted by those two airmen may have altered him in a way, but like, why follow in their footsteps, And then also his dad abusing him, even though it wasn't clear as to what type of abuse he endured. But he followed exactly into his dad's footsteps. So there are the people who assaulted his sister, and there's the dad's beating him or doing other stuff to him. And then he, just turn around doing the same exact things to people and even worse. So I want to know if you guys think that there is a correlation, because I'm not a professional, but I would like to open up the discussion to see if like if you're a professional and you're seeing this, I want to know what you think could have happened to this guy. Or do you think that those things affected him? Or do you think like it could be something different? Or did he just like one good day snap and said, this is what I'm going to do? And it's just completely unrelated to anything that he went through or that he saw as a child. I don't know. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. And please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in my next one. But until then, I hope to see you in the comment section. Bye.